Okay, we're going to get into three-dimensional figures. This is the last part of our year. There's all sorts of different types of three-dimensional figures. We have things like platonic solids, which there's all sorts of different kinds. We have solids of revolution, which you'll get into these in 7th grade. We're really just going to focus on prisms and pyramids. And so first, you have to understand what makes prism a prism. And you can see there's all sorts of different examples of prisms. We have trapezoidal prisms and parallelogram prisms and right rhombic prisms and triangular prisms, different types of triangular prisms, rectangular prisms, even a cube. So let's start with a cube. A cube obviously is just a three-dimensional figure that is all sides are squares. So a cube is a prism, but it is a special kind of prism. It has every side being a square and the same length for each of its sides. 6 sides and all are squares. Now, naming the prisms really has to do with understanding that no matter what the prism is, it's going to have rectangular lateral faces. Lateral meaning the sides. So you can see this hexagonal prism has 2 hexagons. Those are referred to as the bases. So we have bases, and then everything else is rectangles that connect those 2 planes. So I have 2 parallel hexagonal bases, and then I have rectangles that connect them. The prism is named based off of the special figure. So in this case, since the hexagon is the special figure, then we call it a hexagonal, or hexagonal if you want to, prism. Same thing with, for example, like a triangular prism. This is what a triangular prism looks like. You can see that it has triangle bases. Those are the 2 special figures, and there's always 2 of them on prisms. And the lateral faces are rectangles, and that's what makes it a prism. It has rectangles, in this case 3 rectangles, and then 2 triangle bases. You can have that really work for anything. So here, for example, I have trapezoidal. So we have 2 trapezoid bases. Oh, sorry. You can do that for anything. So here I have a trapezoidal prism, and then the other lateral faces are all rectangles. They're not all the same here. You can see like I have a long one, and then I have a couple shorter ones. But I do have rectangles, and I have 2 trapezoids, and that's why it's called a trapezoidal prism. Now, the only one that's kind of funny is the rectangular prism, and that's really because everything is a rectangle. You really can name any of its sides. I could say that this is the base, and this is the base, and then the other sides are rectangles. Or, of course, I could say that this is the base, and this is the base, and the other sides are rectangles. So this is anything that's just like a plain box is a rectangular prism. And they're special because all of their sides are rectangles, unlike everything else. Of course, this is also a square. At least it looks like a square. A square, we don't ever say a square prism. We say a rectangular prism, and of course, if it's all equal squares, then it's a cube.